It must be Friday because we're doing the community meeting hangout. And here we are talking today with Scott Marshall is here joining with us.
Hello,
I'm Mark
everybody.
Davenport. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
And over here is
Heidi Hörnlein.
yes, and we're kind of the regular hosts here, and Scott's our most faithful participant.
Yes.
And today yes, and we really appreciate that. Let me tell you. And today we're talking about the next level of development that we
It's
have.
not that we don't talk together often, but we appreciate to talk with other people too about what we talk normally at home, isn't it? I wanted to say sometimes we can do the broadcast also alone, but it's so much nicer when other perspectives come in, other people's ideas, other people's experience.
Yeah.
So there were several people having said that they would come and join the hangout, but I don't see them.
No,
Where are you?
I don't know
Come in.
what's happening.
That's
Don't
too
know.
bad.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad for them. Well, too bad for us
they
too.
they might see the replay, but
Yeah,
this
that's
is not the
possible.
sense of a
good.
conversation because we want to talk with
Right.
you.
And
Okay, next time.
And we're talking about, if you don't mind,
Taking the leap.
taking the leap. And it is a momentous leap. Claire Graves, who was the first to talk about spiral dynamics, he didn't use the word, but he had the idea, talked about the momentous leap, but he was talking about moving from red to blue as the most difficult stage of human development, because the red just hangs on and hangs on and hangs on, and it seems like things never can get better. And then eventually, at least in half the world so far, they have. But the other half is still back there in red. But now we have this other leap that we're talking about, and some people are saying that this leap from green to yellow, or teal, if you want to use Wilburys, is a very difficult jump too. And I could quite agree with that because I continually reminded that I'm not all that yellow, you know?
We are all a little bit, no?
Yeah, we're a little bit yellow and a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah, and we should say that, excuse me, Scott, I just continue, that it's not that we can say, oh, I'm blue, or I'm green, or I'm yellow, or whatever.
No.
It's just not. We sometimes have our center of gravity there, or there, or there, or there. And we will, after we have talked about all the levels of development, we will talk about the lines of development, which are going through all the levels all by themselves. There can be highly intelligent people. I once had a guest here. She was a mathematics professor and highly appreciated for what she did, but she behaved like a child. You know, there are different intelligence. One was highly developed, and the other was like, I mean, not grown up yet at all. You know, so.
Right.
And frankly, the smarter I am, the more like a child I behave.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But anyway, you might want to break in and say something,
Yes.
Scott.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So today we're talking about second tier, right? Second tier. So last week we talked about green, and I got a graphic to look at. How much does that come up in there?
It is a little small, but
A little
you can
small?
see it.
Getting bigger?
If you can do it still back, now it's gone back into smallness. Before it was bigger.
You had it bigger a moment ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right.
So it might be.
Okay. So we've talked about orange, which you can see there is modern. We've talked about green last week, which is the pluralism, equality, postmodern, environmentalistic, world-centric stuff. And today we're going to talk about integral, which is the next momentous leap. See how there's a space between green, postmodern, and integral teal? It's because that's from green, which is anything below green there is all first tier values. and anything after green there is integral values or higher. And as you can see, integral in Ken Wilber or integral theory is teal, and in spiral dynamics it is yellow. And so one of the amazing things that happens, here, let me come out of the share here, get rid of the graphic. One of the things that happens in second tier is a whole different way of looking at first tier values. Everything kind of makes sense or has its place before. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, exactly, because I think, for me at least, just give a little story about my life. When I first went to do a course with Don Beck about spiral dynamics, and in Berlin, and everybody was convinced we were all already yellow or integral, because we were so smart, we knew everything, about the theory and whatever. And then he had some nice exercises. One was to create a meme stick. That was a survey. Somebody was about to develop a survey, and they used us, let's say, as a guinea pig, And then, oops, almost everybody found out that so integral they were not yet.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is that often the next step in development comes by understanding it mentally. And what we are doing here mainly is to present the integral theory with practical examples, to that people can understand it. Oops, almost everybody found out that so integral they were not. Oh, Margarita, I muted you just now. Now I'm a little bit out of my thing. Yeah, that people can understand it mentally first, and then slowly, with their being, with their development, really enter into this new way of being. I mean, this probably is not so dramatic in first year, because you find yourself, rules don't bind me so much anymore. I do a little bit like I want to do, for instance, or you begin to find yourself interested in the survival of lions, for instance. Seeing this event which has happened, and so on. You find yourself in this position, and there you notice, something has changed. Before lions, I didn't care at all, because I was so much occupied with creating my own career and my business, and if these lions are there or not, that was not really a concern. And then you begin to be interested, or in fracking, what that does to nature. You begin to not say, I want cheap oil or gasoline, but you say, this may be not a good thing. And this is when you go into green. And then when you go into integral, that takes sort of more.
You have to think about the price of gasoline too.
Yes, but you need to first get into the mindset, let's say, into the understanding, and then normally you have got it with your mind, and then sooner or later you begin, it sometimes happens to me, that you really feel in this other way. And hello, Margarita, first of all.
Yeah. Margarita, you were, I think, having on the 30-second delay, because when we heard you for a few seconds, it wasn't what we were speaking at the moment.
Yeah, she knows that.
Oh, she knows that.
No problem.
Okay.
I muted her, so it's no problem. I see there was somebody else in the room, and please come in, whoever you are. You have got the link in an email, or in the chat. Come in.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
We missed you when we talked about green.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the things you are doing are really attractive to people who have reached the green level of development.
Yeah. So. The way I made that little switch was reading a book by Wilber. What actually prompted me to do that was a kind of spiritual crisis I had after I moved to Florida, and suddenly whatever I had been waiting for, I didn't have to wait for anymore. So I'd gotten very good at waiting, but now the waiting was done and nothing was happening. Yeah. And it prompted me to move forward into some spiritual realms that I hadn't really investigated before. And fortunately, I soon met Wilber, in books, etc. And it opened my eyes in such a way, but in a very, now I really know what's going on. Too bad about you guys, That was my entry into Integral.
Everybody,
We are bowing to you.
Thank you. You should. Yes, but really, it's a symptom or a sign. I don't know which it is. Of entering Integral. That at first it's just another level of cognition, and well, now I know. I know all of you people, and it's you people, it's not me.
Yeah,
It's
this is
not
the
me.
beginning, the
It's just the
adaptation
beginning.
phase when you really think, now you finally have understood what you always was worrying about, what you never could get together. That this is this and this and this and then it's like an eye-opening, but then you get into the mission thing, and into the superiority.
Yes, missionary thing.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You now know it all, and now you want to bring it out to everybody. Or they are stupid, the others, because they don't want to know it.
And we start giving these damn fat books to our friends.
Yeah.
And the friends roll their eyes. Oh God, again.
There is a notion that I've heard from people, I should not mention any name, that, this integral theory, that it's like they think they know everything, something like that.
Well, we do.
And it piques, that triggers people who wants to be in authority too. So maybe they are also in that level, even though they haven't studied the theory.
Yeah, it's both. Many people go and study the theory because they think then they know everything, and they, in certain ways, they do know, let's say, everything, But if they don't embody it, it's just knowledge. It's just in the head, and that is what many people then who haven't done it yet, or who meet these people, they think they are all arrogant because they go out in the world as if they know everything. And the thing is, as Mark says, we who has studied this has eye openings which are really unprecedented, But that doesn't mean that you need to go and think you are superior. And as Scott, you said, when you really go into Integral, you can appreciate what is before. No?
That's right. Yeah, in a different way. And more development is often being more evolved is really good, but it also brings with it a whole set of other things to deal with, and that is, if you are a more evolved individual, you'll want to bring that to the world in a way that has a place, that all that energy of understanding something mentally is like what you're saying, Heidi, has to be embodied, and then it has to be embodied in a way where you are cleaning up you have a clean, very clear way of talking about what you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to go into the whole. You don't have to talk about everything in the Aqua map, because the map really isn't the territory. It's as they say in the integral circles, but the importance is, as soon as you get to second tier, or you're able to understand it, at least it's psychoactive, which means that it really kind of starts to develop aspects of your being that you didn't realize were there to come online and to actualize themselves. And but that, for some people, that starts in in the mind. Some people starts, I think, in the emotions, or they're so emotionally evolved, you could say, or emotionally aware, intelligent, emotionally intelligent, and then can understand and appreciate people from all walks of life emotionally, as opposed to just in theory or just intellectually, something like that. I just wanted to mention that too, because I think that's important.
Yeah. And I think that there are many ways in which people operate inside of Integral, and they don't even know the theory. And this is not by chance, because for me, all the things which are good, true, and beautiful, at the end, more or less come together. So if in one field you have come to a certain realization, that looks more or less, it has a different picture, but the structure is more or less the same as when you come from another field, you know. So
that's what integral means. It's the whole thing. One field will infect another, so to speak, and you will start to see connections. You'll stop thinking in separate categories. You're no longer an expert in just one thing. You're interested in how does that relate to so many other areas of our lives.
Yeah.
It's really.
it's not really exactly what I meant, but it's okay.
Is that a little bit? Go ahead.
It's all right too. Go ahead. You go, please.
Is it like the ego wants to enhance itself?
Yeah.
Every single level, every step up the way to the very top. And then when you come to the top, you realize you're really needing to look up, be humble, be grateful, and not. We are all the same, really. We just have different awareness of reality.
I think the ego thing, it's just a natural thing for people. And if we can reduce it by, not by wanting to be without ego, but by a different way of really growing up and not needing the defenses anymore, and not needing to look down on other things anymore, because with bigger understanding, this is sort of automatical that the ego gets lower. But as we said, not in the first moments. I think for me it took 10 years or something from...
Well, I was quicker than that, but... But it's true. We carry these old habits and we just have them automatically. But when we get to second tier, we can start to look at those habits.
That's it.
Without the same fears and the thinking that, oh my God, I can't do without X, Y, or Z. My identity is more fluid than I ever imagined it could be. And in our relationship, for example, we have this motto, so to speak, that is a relationship beyond our wildest dreams.
Which doesn't mean that we don't fight.
No, no, it doesn't mean that at all. But
let's say we have a sort of possibility of a meta view to look from above. But we see the woods from above and can see the single trees, and we are not standing in front of the woods and see only the first row and maybe the second. I think this is the big difference between first tier and second tier.
Oh.
What would you say, Scott?
Yeah, I like what you're saying. There's like Margarita was saying just a few moments ago, which is that the ego can hijack anything and identifying with theory is not so much what we're really talking about. This is and also there's that whole male enhancement thing where what are you doing? Just enhancing adding on to your already complicated life. I think that can happen, and I think that in the integral theory that can happen, and I also think that one of the things that's important to mention is that which we really haven't talked a lot about is states of consciousness also go different states of consciousness apply to development also, that you kind of can move through these like a waking state and a dreaming state and a deep dreamless sleep state, and then the witness of those. And one of the attitudes spiritually is developing a witness consciousness, at least, so you can actually look at patterns in your life. Having a witness consciousness allows one to see, observe. It's the observer, that which watches. And that's very crucial, because without that we really can't, in my opinion, we really can't see ourselves or how we're behaving at all. I mean, we still can't see a lot of we can't see everything about ourselves, but a witness consciousness, the observer, is helpful. And that's the present moment awareness and seeing things for as they are. And I think that it can be, the whole point of integral theory is really being able to appreciate other people's perspectives and see their truth. See the truth in other perspectives. And that not every perspective is equal, and that's not the point, but it's appreciating that there is more than one way of viewing the world, looking at the patterns, looking at these patterns in our relationships, and then and acting from that knowledge. From that knowledge is different than being enhanced, I think, the enhanced ego. Although I think some people really need to enhance their egos.
Yeah, that's part of the
healthy egos. Healthy egos is what I mean.
Yeah, right. I
That Margareta wants to say something.
she does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the good point. Like, we need the ego because that's integrating in the third dimension. If we don't have an ego, like if we wasn't born without an ego, we didn't have an identification of our own persona. So many great masters, they have huge egos, but they have learned to temper that ego and be in control of it.
Yep.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the main thing, that we don't allow the ego to make the decisions, and this is not an easy thing in no stage of consciousness, in no stage of the development. That's what I wanted to say to Scott. All these awakening states, the states of consciousness, they are in every level of development.
That's
and
right.
The higher you are developed in the
Growing
levels
up.
and the growing up, the more you can, let's say, take benefit from the states of the
waking up.
the waking up part,
Waking up,
because
yeah.
you would interpret it in a different thing. What Margareta says, that many masters have a big ego and they sort of tame it, but what Ken Wilber noticed is the thing that, you know, they were awake in the spiritual sense, but they were in a low level of development in the social psychological sense. So they were very near of the egocentric developmental stage.
Right.
And so it was normal that they were in this, or maybe even are in this way. So that is what he wrote together with other people, a good book about religions and sects and all these things, and
Cults.
he called all the religious formations which were there in this book is from the 90s, I think, and he made it very clear how you can see the quality of religious groups. It was not so much about the leaders, but he spoke very often about the levels of development of leaders, of spiritual leaders, who often think they are illuminated and they are in the states, not teaching, states development, you would say,
That's right.
but not
Yeah.
necessarily on the stages. And there is the necessity to say today an enlightened person needs to have both lines, the awakening and the growing up line, the highest possible level, and then they are enlightened people.
A double enlightenment. Two
Yeah.
kinds of enlightenment, really.
I don't think there's two kinds of enlightenment, because those teachers that you're referring to, they are not enlightened. They have huge ego that they haven't tempered on that level. What I was talking about was a person. It doesn't have to be in a religious sense, but somebody who was really a masterful. I mean, I think Mother Teresa would be some kind of person like that. She commanded enormous respect, even from the Pope. She dropped in on him anytime, and without any problem. And then she modeled with her life that you can have spiritual awareness and being. I think she was probably one of the most enlightened people on the planet. That she realized that, I mean, I'm not a Catholic, but she realized that the moment of death is the point where a rebirth can happen, and if a person then are available to have a death that is more peaceful, then she helped the people from that point of view to actually come into a new life form, maybe if you believe in incarnation or something like that, which I do, but then those persons have come up in the hierarchy of evolution and can actually move forward, and that brings up the whole consciousness of all beings further.
It's a little bit a definition question what we are talking about. We would talk about a full enlightenment, which implicates the highest stage which you can reach as a person in your psychological social development, and the highest stage which you can reach as a spiritual being.
Yeah,
I think.
To go to extremes just to make the point. Think of an American Indian shaman who had complete state development, who was absolutely one with nature, who could bring messages to his people, you know, from a place that most of the ordinary folks could not reach, but the shaman could. But also, the shaman was a tribal person. He was concerned about the welfare of the tribe. He did not have an idea about nations or about the world at large, let alone of the universe. He had a small world that was the circle of his care. And so that's what we mean by two kinds of development, you know? In this world, we have to be aware of the whole world, at least, if not more. And when we talk about our actions, what we're doing, the consequences of corporations, etc. And that is not in contradiction to spiritual development at all. It's another kind of development. So,
Lucky says he is right. So when we talk about second tier, this is only about the psycho-spiritual evolutionary development, because the spiritual development seems to be stopping then when you are in the fifth dimension there, no? I
don't know where
I'm
it
not so
stops.
good in that, so but it seems to be this realization seems not to be not to be subject to evolution, let's say in this
But the states are not subject to evolution. No, they've always been there. And some people have always got there. Yeah.
We were talking about second tier, to take the leap. So let's go a little bit back to that.
Yeah.
How can we realize that we have taken the leap? You have begun a little bit, Scott, to say that...
Yeah, I'll just talk from my personal experience about when I discovered there was such a thing as the integral theory. I was on YouTube and looking at videos of different philosophers, is a one of my nerdy pastimes to look at to watch those. And all of a sudden, this was back 2006-ish, 2006, and I discovered a YouTube video with Ken Wilber in it. And then I said, boy, this guy thinks how I think, and I really liked it. That fluffed me right up, and I went over to the bookstore and bought the book Integral Life Practice, which is co-authored with Ken and some other Terry Patton, I think, is one, and there's another guy too that I forget. But where you have develop an integral life practice, which is mind. There's like four main pillars: mind, body, spirit, and shadow. So you want to work out all those type aspects of your being. And so it's kind of history from there, getting more involved in reading about the theory, reading all the books, and I think my favorite book so far is Integral Spirituality, actually, and I do like Up from Eden. These are Ken Wilber books, by the way. And Grace and Grit I just started, but I hear everybody talks about that one, which is more personal, which is about Ken's love, getting cancer, and the whole his wife Treya getting cancer, and then the whole like emotional, psychological, personal side of his story, which is very dear to a lot of people's hearts. I have that book. I haven't gotten fully into that, but he is quite a sweet man, and I think that there's a lot of controversy about, you're going to want to maybe at some point take a perspective on all of this stuff, and say, well, what is really right for me in my life? And because spending a lot of time up there, all the way up there, it's hard to ground that, and so I just want to reiterate how important it is to be flexible with the approach. So if you're getting involved if you're new to this and you're watching this video, to recommend to people to be flexible about their position on integral and say, okay, not everybody's into this. They're not going to want to know this. maybe it's not for them. But if it is for you, that's okay. And if it helps you evolve as a person and be able to look and address people for more of who they really are, that I think is a really valuable, heart-centered approach. You're meeting someone where they are, and then that way you love them more for who they are. And if part of that is an intellectual thing, is that you actually have to know what someone is saying. You have to actually know where they're coming from. That's partly an intellectual world. But another part of that is feeling where they're coming from, feeling, sensing, and knowing where they're coming from. So I just wanted to mention that. And so, yeah, it started for me in the nerd zone, and it stayed in the nerd zone. But I just would like to say that it has helped evolve my relationships in my life, and being able to treat people. I mean, I'm not always perfect at it, by all means. It's like sometimes you're wrong. So just because you know something that's really smart and cutting edge doesn't necessarily mean you're right all the time.
Does it?
It does. No, what a delusion. Disappointment.
What's the point here, anyway? Yeah. Oh, that's great, Scott. I really appreciate what you've been saying.
Okay.
One thing that I have learned as I delve into various aspects of second-tier development is that I see how much of me, not how much of them, but how much of me is still in first tier. And that's not a bad thing. I am green, I am orange, I am blue, I am red, I am purple. That was really, a revelation about a year ago to understand that I had a real purple chunk of me, and it felt good to recognize it and let it be, you know. Red was a little tougher because those are nasty people sometimes, but but I have that too, you know. I really do.
Yeah, as long as we still think we shouldn't be angry or we shouldn't sometimes fight, you know, in relationship only all the time, something
My
like that.
ego matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that rules are horrible, and or money is
Yeah.
horrible. Asking money, no, for what you do.
Oh.
Yeah, all these things. That means that we haven't integrated it yet, and
Yeah.
I think it's a whole life's work to more and more integrate it. I mean, for me, for instance, trying to get money by what I'm doing, you know, it was really, really hard for me, and I tried for 40 years until my 40th birthday to sort of do something, but not to need to earn money, and always have a man who has enough money to
That's
for
what you
living.
chose me.
No, come on, with you I was a failure. But I wanted to say, I think my subconscious woke me up, and I separated from the man with whom I was together, and I had here the house, at least half of it at that time, but nothing, no real job, you know, and I knew it was that my subconscious or higher guidance or whatever it was said, now you have to, because I didn't move as long as I had enough money. I didn't want to you know, go into competition with other and go all the way, all this you know, this fatigue just to earn some more money. Oh, it's so fine. I don't need so much. It's enough what he brings home.
I agree with that, by the way.
Come on. And so I really separated, and then for a while I really had no money. I had the freezer full of food and nothing, and a car, but no money to put the gasoline in. And my mother gave me 5,000 marks. It was the marks as a loan. And so I started. And then I went to Rome. First I was a coach for a choir, and then I had singing students. And then out of there came a career of 20 years of teaching voice. And if I hadn't done it, I would still not know that I'm a very, very good voice teacher. You know, I get out the voices of people, they have no idea that they have this voice. I would have stayed here with my animals and maybe get cancer for not realization or something. So I wanted to say, sometimes the evolutionary impulse gets you and pushes you into some moments which seem horrible, which seem desperation, because how can I go on? Oh gosh, I don't have money, I don't have blah. And there can come out very, very good things. And in my case, it was really a push forward, so that I have to develop this orange skill. I was so proud when I had money, you know, after the session, they gave me the money, and I counted it because I didn't believe that I got so much. And then going on, I mean, just as to say that sometimes negative experiences, I think our higher guidance creates them to give us a kick in the bottom.
Where? There. We haven't heard from Margarita for a while.
Please, be silent.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and trying to influence these flies that coming out, and I have my feather here, and I was thinking if
Margarita here, shall we give it to you?
No, I don't want to kill them, you see.
Oh, dear.
But I was thinking I'm going to use my mind to influence them, not to come to sit on my head or making out on the webcam.
Okay. Did it work?
Do not make out on the webcam.
So I'm sort of holding my focus on this intention while listening very much to you, and I don't know, I'm probably not very involved, but because they come once in a while, boom. But lately now, in the last 10 minutes, it's been good. So maybe your influence has been helping.
I think you actually sent them to us. That's what I think.
Yeah, this is all possible, no? how is it? No, yeah, no.
Telekinesis.
That was it. Yeah, and I hope not that it works with flies, that you can send them to us.
No, I just want to put them outside, but they like it in here. And then, isn't that the same as people who are in your midst that use your energy or are drawn to you because they think that they get so much energy from that person or whatever. And this is the same with the flies, right? So if we have participants in our life that perhaps is on a sort of a little lower level, maybe, if they were on a higher level, they wouldn't come to you, not necessarily because they can manage their own, right? Mm-hmm. And so those people who are bullying us, who steals our energy, who takes our energy, or are mean to us, they are probably on a lower level than us. And we are not able to set the boundaries, right? And so
psychologically sound.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking now with the flies, it's a very good model. So if I can now rise above the flies, they're not going to be attracted to me because they're not going to see me at that time. Because if we rise above somewhere, then the other people around us don't see us. They don't connect with us because they have no reference to us. But when they're sort of close, right, then they can feel our energy. Oh, I like that. I want to be like that, And then they come and steal that energy. And the worst thing is to actually go and kill them, right?
Okay, this is a very good example, and I think this is for us then, who has so much energy and has in some way the desire to give it away and give it away to the wrong people. So this is the request by the universe or whoever it is to get able to set boundaries. And for me it was a painful process to need to do that. I gave away a lot of, myself and material goods.
To your own energy.
Yeah, and I think when we're talking about taking the leap, when you have taken the leap, you can see it from a different way. You don't have to be kind anymore to everybody. When you understand that there is some kindness in them which is not genuine and that they want to manipulate you, you can see that clearly, much more clearly than before. And you can say no, with me not, and you risk to lose friends, which you believe to be friends, but at the end they are not. Look, I'm not really concentrated because it's not a fly which is here on my.
You have a dog.
I have a dog who is attracted to me.
Right.
Aww. What's the name of your dog? What's your dog's name?
Lucky.
Lucky Fortunata. Fortunata means lucky in Italiano, in Italian. And when we found her, people said she is Fortunata. But it took too long to say Fortunata, vieni, come. So we called her Lucky. And she has a Google Plus page, Lucky Fortunata.
Lots of pictures, lots of quotes from Lucky. Yes.
The wisdom of your dog. Yeah, that's wonderful.
So is Lucky part of the Wisdom Factory as well?
I guess so.
Contributor, right?
Contributor.
She is bringing the luck. And you know what? No, there is no joke. She has taught us, me personally, but we agree on that, a lot. Really a lot, because she is a spirit, a free spirit.
Yes.
She doesn't want to be educated.
First of all, she is a spirit. And to be aware of that consciousness.
And we, in our green thing, we gave her goodies. He's always good in giving the animals goodies and so on. And when we met
Doesn't mean I'm just green. No.
We want to be loved by our animals, and so we give them goodies. And when we met our dog teacher, she said, this is completely wrong. You have taught the dog that he is standing over you in a higher level and you are his, he has to
Service.
take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
He is in duty all the time, and then what normally people do, she says, they try to punish the dogs and push them down in a lower level so that they become the bosses again. But she says that's not the way. You have to become higher. You have to raise up your level. And this was really hard work because you have to tolerate that you eat wonderful things and the dog doesn't get anything, because in the herd,
In the pack.
in the pack,
Yeah.
the higher dogs, the higher animals eat first, and what is left gets the lower ones. And if
Yeah.
you give them at the same time food, he is boss, or she in this case.
Yeah.
So this was I don't know how much it ties with the levels of development and integral, but these
Hierarchy.
hierarchy.
Yeah, hierarchy.
It's a first tier dog. Yes, let's face it.
This,
I wonder where you
Oh,
guys
my
are in this tyranny.
A tyranny, yes.
she did tyranny with us. Yeah. And she's still,
Well, isn't it good to actually discuss this because it does touch the ground instead of words, right? It touched the ground.
You know what I think, when you are really getting into integral, you can be so hilarious and you can be so released and relaxed,
Yes.
because you don't have to fight anymore. So I think today, what we did today was a good expression
Yes,
of what it
uh-huh.
could be to be an integral, You don't have to study all the time.
No.
And by the way,
You don't have to like everybody.
who wants to learn fun and relaxation?
Oh, yes.
We invite you, Margarita and me, to take our fun and relaxation challenge. I have posted it on the Wisdom Factory page, but I will put it also here in the event page. It starts on Sunday, and we will explore. It is not just fun, it's also raising consciousness in fields where you probably have never thought about, and you will get new experiences, And we will all be part of it, except you. You are a watcher.
I'm just a watcher.
You're just a watcher.
I'm still promoting it, though. I
That is
invited
fine.
about 200 people today.
So please come and join us. It will be fun, and it will not just be stupid fun. It will be, some insights will come on one field or the other. And Scott will be there one day at least and play his music, and Margarita is my co-host. We will work together.
Yep.
I think we don't dive into theory anymore, do we?
Oh, no, it's
5
5 minutes to the
minutes.
hour. We're not going to get back into it.
We asked for the takeaway.
Oh.
Takeaways.
Fine.
Takeaways.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. Takeaway. Today I am feeling that I want to talk about how important it is to, instead of just taking, that it's important to contribute. And one of the ways I feel good about myself these days is contributing to your show, and the connections that I make with you guys are important to me. So I just wanted to honor that. I just feel really good about being a part of it. And I think today I want for me the word is wholeness. So what we're doing is becoming more authentically whole people, and the way we do that is practicing being that way by seeing what that feels like. And in my experience, it feels good. Doesn't always feel good, but it feels good to be more authentically whole. So I wanted to share that, whole as in integrated, or as in more connected to myself and to other people.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
I forgot to say the subscription link.
Ooh.
It is
Ooh, yes.
HTTP, as you know, double point, how do you say it? Colon.
Mhm.
// and then bit.ly, bit.ly, no? And then / And then Fun Challenge.
Fun challenge.
So if you sign up for that, it's naturally free. We don't. We are not orange enough to ask money. Oh dear, we have to learn that.
It's $150. Don't listen to it. $150.
It's not true. Maybe later, but not this time.
$50.
All right. But remember the Bitly link, folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Margarita,
Yeah.
you take away.
Well, it's always happy to be among the like-minded, and especially Scott. I admire him so much. He just did a photo of me.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It looks
Beautiful.
like taken out of Vogue. I mean,
It's wonderful.
Really beautiful, beautiful. Not only wonderful, beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah, and discussion was very helpful today, even though I didn't participate in all of it. But it's very important to contribute. I agree with Scott about that. Like, the more a person contribute, the more you receive. So if you are sort of interested in this, it's very great if you are also contributing, coming inside, and just feel that this is something that you want to do, you want to learn more, and then you are going to learn more. You're going to evolve. This is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I fully agree.
I have a takeaway.
You too?
Yeah. I often have kind of mixed motives in performing on this show, so to speak, because I both want to, spread the word and attract people and introduce them to the things that we're interested in, but I also want to talk about me, and express myself and say things publicly that I haven't said before.
And that you would never have said in the past 60 years of your life.
That's
probably.
right. And it's new stuff, by and large. This is recent discoveries about me. And I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Now they're starting to make out on the webcam again.
me. Okay. All right. And so I have these two urges whenever I'm on camera, and it goes on.
Yeah, and I think he should have been an actor in early age, and he would have been a perfect actor. You don't see him normally, but I do. He's really very gifted in that. But it's a little late in your age, I guess.
Well,
He could do Shakespeare. Why not? You do Shakespeare, Mark. I can see it.
They have to speak so fast in that Shakespearean language. Thank you, Scott.
He's playing here on the
Macbeth.
we are in 3 today, making the show. She is relentless here.
So what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is I love to do these shows, and I would maybe, if this was possible, to create an income by guiding shows for other people or something like this, like I do now with Lawrence. It's not for income, it's just for friendship and doing it, But it's opening up like that. I really like it. I like all the other things I do, like singing and music and whatever, but at the moment this is what I'm really enthusiastic. And when I was small and I was enthusiastic about things, it was also seen as negative. Oh, she has something new, she should do always the same thing. It was a message in my house. Unfortunately, I did a lot of things and I enjoyed them all, but for everything is a time. It may be together with levels of development, and then it's over. For instance, for me to sing in a big audience, as I did for some years ago, it's over. I'm not inspired to do it anymore. To study every day, and every day will go to perfection and present yourself on the stage. It's not anymore. And now I like that. Maybe
Okay.
this is my actor.
That's your you.
That's
Yeah.
my you. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your you for the end?
Mew.
You.
You
It's our
me.
cat. Yes. Anyway.
Mew, mew, mew,
So-
mew.
Yeah. So an invitation to think about how can we put our me into the service of the world.
Yeah.
This is an
Yes.
invitation.
Final great words.
Oh,
Good. So
all right.
bye bye and see you next week.
Yeah. Next week.
Okay. It doesn't.